I hope you can hear me okay. I'm just trying this new setup. Hopefully the sound is all good. Hi, Mohammed. Mohammed, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. My apologies if I'm not. I'm curious where you chiming in from. So it's been a while since I actually done a live stream. It's actually, um, interestingly enough, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. But I feel that it's a good opportunity for us to chat. Hi, Abians. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for chiming in. I hope you're having a nice Friday. I think it's start for some people. It's the start of the weekend. For some people, maybe it's already. Um, it's still probably work day. So I'm here taking a little break from work. Um, it's still work day. But yeah, I'm curious. What kind of questions you have for me. I'm happy to answer those. And yeah, I don't have any specific topic set or anything like that. Mohammed, I want to prepare to data structure and algorithms, but I'm confused how to do it. I have base. Okay, let's see. What I have basic know of DS, but I don't have a structure path to prepare. Can you give me any tips? Um, there's like I don't think there's like one thing that works for everybody, but like when I was doing my hackathon to find my next job, um, the plan that I had, I came up with I think a month of prep for data structures and algorithms, and I kind of outlined every other day what I'm going to do. So let's say for data structures and algorithms, I was like, okay, I'll do array, let's say this week for 3 days. I'll make sure to read up on all the documentation and then open up, let's say at that time I was doing JavaScript. So I was opening up the all the methods and all the functions that are available let's say for arrays and so on. And I was reading all those, kind of refreshing my memory, and then making sure that afterwards immediately doing data structures. Because previously what I was doing, I was brushing up on everything. Like I'll have a book or something like that, read on all the data structures, and then try to do the practice, and that didn't work for me. So my tip there, number one, is definitely make um, refresh our memory on the technical side and immediately apply that into practice. Another tip there, I would say, is basically to make sure that you get it from simple to harder, right? Like start with simple tasks and eventually, eventually graduate into getting more complex and more complex. Make it a game. Make it fun for you because a lot like our brain, it's like a child. It likes to be entertained and it likes games. Hi, Alina. Um, and the thing that also that I found that worked for me the most, and probably this is the most valuable tip that I can give at this time, is that learn the patterns for algorithms. There are about 16 or 17 patterns that you can apply over and over again. So once you know the pattern and you understand it, it's easier to do. Like what I'm talking about is that I did an educative IO course. I think it's called, I think it was, I don't remember. I will actually drop it probably in the comments somewhere. But it was, I believe, data structures, patterns for interview questions or something like that. And there's like the sliding window, and there are many different things there. So I definitely encourage you to invest in understanding those patterns. And that's where you apply from easy to hard. And then, like, once you wrap your head around the 16 patterns, no matter what kind of question or what coding challenge you'll get during your interview, you'll be able to identify the pattern and apply it. That, like, I cannot speak enough about knowing those patterns. So hopefully those tips are helpful for you. Okay, I'm about to go through that exact page you just mentioned. Awesome. Do you think Algo Expert's worth buying? Again, some people will love it. Some people will use it all the time to prepare for their interviews. I purchased it. I purchased the Algo Expert. I purchased the system design, and honestly, I probably used one or two. It was not useful for me in that capacity. But again, they're like everybody has different style of learning. So if try it out, if it works for you, definitely buy it. But in my opinion, it was not something that helped me a lot in my case. What helped me, it was the course that I mentioned, the one that says the algorithms. And what is interesting about Algo Expert, they actually are kind of solving the problems that they're solving. They are also from simple to hard, like just no brainer. But the majority of the problems, like if you still want to do Algo Expert, let me take a step back. If you still want to do Algo Expert, what I would recommend is to do first the educative IO, the interview pattern questions, learn those patterns, how many they are, I don't remember, I think it's 16. And afterwards do Algo Expert. That's what will be the most kind of efficient way of doing that. So if you have money for both of this things that I'm mentioning, um, that's worth the investment. If you have only one opportunity, definitely do educative IO because that will help you identify quicker and faster any problems that you have to solve. And during interviews, guys, like I kid you not, like I'm interviewing right now, like I'm interviewing for people to join my team, and I'm surprised how little, not enough people pay attention at actually at the beginning understanding the question. So my recommendation, whatever you're doing, lead code, algo expert, um, educative IO, whatever else, there are many different things like HackerRank, uh, whichever is your method to prepare for interviews. Make sure that you also prepare for the fact that mm, you validate or clarify the requirements, because it doesn't matter how much you practice. It's important for a lot of interviewers to see that the candidate is paying attention for the requirements, is asking clarification questions, is asking follow-up questions to gauge the limits, the edge cases, and so on. So that is not something that you find in the prep materials that are out there these days. Just make sure that you don't skip that step. It's an important step. Like for me, when I have an interviewee that I'm asking there, I give them a coding challenge. I give them time to read the assessment or the task. And if I see a person who immediately jumps into coding without asking clarification questions or without kind of stating what was the like what's the understanding, their understanding of the task, and if they're not doing pseudocode or something like that, that's kind of a yellow flag for me. It's definitely doesn't doesn't impress me. What impresses me, like in the candidate when I interview them, is if they are doing those steps. Like it's a we are looking for people that not only able to do technical stuff, but they're able to communicate and deal with ambiguity, ask questions, ask clarifications, express their thought, and so on. So hopefully that makes sense. Any other questions I can answer or information I can provide about? Okay. It's interview. It's not an easy thing. So it's interesting that I mentioned in the previous. Okay. Um, Avians will think of some. So yeah, make sure that you ask the questions you want, and if you think about some of them after this um, live stream, you can probably ask them in the comment section as well. So what I wanted to say is that interviewing it's a skill, and it's something that needs to be practiced constantly and maintained. Like it's kind of embarrassing, but last year around this time, maybe a month sooner than October, September, when I started to do my 100 applications that I've done that month and preparing for the interviews. It was um, super challenging at the beginning to get up to speed to do the data structures and algorithms and so on. But then in a few weeks, it got so much better, and it was easier and easier to solve them, easier and easier to do the interviews. Um, to the moment where I felt comfortable in interviews. Fast forward to today, I feel that I'm back to square one, where I'm not confident anymore to do those challenges, and I need to refresh my memory and like how to do the algorithms. Okay, Aman, is Go the best programming language in the world right now in terms of applications such as cloud, server side? My opinion, there is not the best. There's not one best programming language. Um, they're like depending on what you want to do, because um, like you're mentioning here, applications such as cloud, server side, there are many languages you can do those. So like the way that there is not the best language in the world to communicate, each language, English or Spanish or Indian or like any other, like I don't think there's an Indian. I think there are different dialects there. But what I'm trying to say is like, and my apologies if I said something wrong there, but every language has its own flavors and their way that you can express your thought when you want to form an expression or something like that. Same is true for programming languages. Some programming languages are built easier to accomplish certain tasks, and some are more complicated. So whichever you feel most comfortable and the one that has the most support, go for that one. Okay. Mohammed, how much time will it take to become interview ready if I did 3 hours every day? I don't think it's about the quantity of time you do, is the quality, I would say. If you spend time and you just don't rush it and you truly invest time to understand, at the beginning it will be really, really slow. But trust me, like once you understand and you build those patterns, connect the dots and so on, it will be so much faster. So I would say everybody's different, but I would say 2 weeks to a month, you should be ready. If I did DSA 3 hours every day, okay, that makes sense. Knack123, been following your content for a while and enjoy your approach to tech content. Remember when you were switched from C to management? Did you miss coding at work more often? Oh my God, yes. So if you still do it, how do you manage your role switching from coding and managing a group of devs? This is kind of one of my biggest challenges right now. I really, really, really miss coding, and I don't get a chance to code as much as I would like. Um, so basically, even writing like in a new language, hello world, just doing a tutorial feels so great. At the beginning, if I take a project, it's stressful, like, oh my God, will I be able to remember how to code or anything like that? But as soon as I am able to just open the terminal, like it's like muscle memory. I remember what to do and how to do it and where to look at. So not that I like know everything off the top of my head, but it's easier to quickly Google and like, hey, what is the syntax here or how to do this here? So it feels really good. It's scary at the same time, and it feels like I'm on imposter syndrome every single day when I'm thinking about coding. I hope that answered the question. I'm on, is development like web app cloud more important than competitive coding DSA. They are different things. Like in my world, I would say the skills that you can create a project and you can do the web, the app, the cloud, you can do full stack, or you can do a back end or front end, whatever it's your interest. The ability to create projects from scratch and take them from zero to some functionality, it's more impressive to me than being able to do DSA, because DSA you can learn them and apply over and over like a blueprint. However, the interview process in tech today, it's heavily relying on the people being able to do DSA. So that's why I like the fact that when I'm interviewing the candidates for the roles that for my team, I provide the options to the engineers to do a coding challenge that is it's a timed coding challenge, which is um, coding data structures and algorithms, or to take at home a project and they don't have a time there. They can take as long as they want and be creative and create the project the way that they see it. And that's where I see the most people shining and showing their abilities. So um, that's my I would say my view on this, but I'm sure there are some people who might disagree about this. Mohammed, can you make some resume review videos, please? Yes, I will try to do that. Actually, I'm writing a book. It's actually in review right now on resume writing for tech, because I'm surprised, like reviewing so many resumes on a regular basis. I'm surprised that we might be really good at writing code, making projects, making super cool things with code, telling computer what to do. But as developers, we are kind of sucking at writing interviews. So that's kind of my book, and that's my, my intro for the book. So hopefully I'll find time soon to redact it and make it available. Okay, Knack 1 to 3. Same here, barely code anymore. I calculated and it worked out to 30% of my week spent coding at most. Well, that's, I would say it sucks, but at least you have 30% of it. Uh, for me, I don't think I have 30%. I do touch code, but it's not that I'm doing code reviews. I'm doing system designs or stuff like that. But I don't code from start to end. And so what I want to say is that treasure that time that you have. It's better than nothing. Come on, thanks a lot. Well, I'm glad that you found it uh, appreciative. Um, Bernard, I wish more hiring manager will take your approach. I think there are more and more people like that that are doing that approach, and some some there might be a struggle that managers might want to have that approach, but there might be some rules that are put in place by the organizations, by the company, and sometimes even if the managers want to make the change, it's not going as fast and as smoothly as they would like. But I'm sure the move will be in the right direction and more people will look into that. Till today, I remember that from the again going back to last year when I was doing the 100 job application and interviewing. The one that I really liked the most, I didn't pass that interview, but that interview that I liked the most, I believe it was from Stripe, and the assignment that I was given, it was simple. It was not anything out of ordinary or anything like that. And they allowed me to use Google or any of other projects that I've done or algorithms or anything like that. They're just like, okay, we want to see how you think and how your thought process and so on. And I really want more companies to follow what Stripe does. Okay, Knack 1 to 3. I struggle to decide between going the individual contributor route and becoming an L6 or switching to managing. How did you decide? Did you have soul searching moments speaking to mentors? and so on. Um, that's an interesting question, and I don't. It was what I did. I definitely didn't apply for a manager role. I applied for individual contributor. Um, but I was like during the interview, the way that I performed or the way that I did the interview, I was asked if I'm interested in the manager role, and the way that it was presented and the way that what I will be doing, what I will be addressing, how it will be done, that I have the autonomy of making the changes that I want to do, the building a team, building a strong and like I am a person who is fascinated by tech and leadership. And anytime I have opportunity to do both and balance them out, that will be my ideal work scenario. Um, it's not easy today to have a balance between tech and leadership, so that's kind of where it is. But definitely, yes, I had this soul searching moment, thinking, do I want to do it? And what I decided to do is like, I'll give it a try. If I like it, I'll continue. If I don't like it, I can switch it back and um, nothing to lose. I get experience and I definitely would know if I like it or not. So I'm still giving it a try. There are moments when individual contributor sounds so much better, and there are moments when being a manager, being able to help team grow, guide them, point them in the right direction, doing kind of proposing the right next thing to do and so on. It's interesting and intimidating at the same time. So it's never boring, I would say that. But yeah, uh, how did I decide? It was just basically, I'll give it a try. That's kind of what it is. Muhammad, it is okay if I put only one language on my resume. I have worked on other languages, but I don't have much confidence in them. That's perfectly normal. Like if you have only one language, it's okay. Um, Actually, it's better not to specify a language that you don't feel comfortable in. I'll tell you my mistake early on, like when I was looking for my first job. During my university, I did through the university 3 years. I did at the beginning C, then I did C++, and then I did Java and other languages. And I made sure to put all of them in my resume when I was looking for my first job. And it was that during the interview, I was asked to code in one of those languages that I didn't use for a year or two, and I could not remember. And during an interview, it's stressful enough trying to remember the syntax of the language they're not comfortable with. It's better not to specify something that you're not comfortable with. And it's perfectly normal to have only one programming language. There's nothing wrong with that. And the one language is JavaScript, and JavaScript is popular. A lot of companies are looking for JavaScript engineers, so by all means, it's better to be honest about the things that you know than to put yourself in a odd situation with and being asked about something that you don't know or don't remember. Knack123, thank you for answering. I feel exactly how you feel. I've only been an engineer lead for a few months, so we'll see how it goes to we can my messages are disappearing, so I'm trying to read them. Um, we can always switch back to coding in the future. Yes, it's it's not something that you say, hey, I'm going to be a manager now and there's no way back. There's definitely a way back if you find that you want the individual contributor route. Um, okay, I'm on how to decide whether to take a job after bachelor, um, go with master's, PhD. Okay, let me see if I understand the question. How to decide whether to take a job after bachelor or go with master's or PhD? Um, well, I don't know what is the situation now or what it is, but back when I just graduated, honestly, when I was learning to code at university, I don't think I was able to code. I was able to to debug and stuff like that. I didn't truly know how to do like I could do algorithms, but I didn't know how to build. products, build projects or anything like that from scratch. For whatever reason, that skill was not what it was being taught at the university. What was taught is like, hey, do you know the syntax? Do you know what error will be here and so on? And I excelled at that, but I really, really sucked at being able to program. So I learned to program at work. And I grew up so fast in my first month at work coding than at the university. And that's my story. So I definitely wanted to do masters. I wanted to do the following things, but I reflected at the situation and I looked at what I am interested in, um, what to do, and like basically look at where do you want to be in the next 5 years and see what is the thing that you need to do to get there. If getting a job and getting the real world experience is the thing that gets you sooner to where you want to be in 5, 10 years, um, then put that as a pro towards that. And same is true, like what are the benefits and like pros and cons of going the continuous education, in this case, actually getting higher degree in education, and look at that. Because right now, if you're worried that you will be, or thinking that you easier will be to find a job or a better job if you have a master's degree or a PhD or anything like that. There might be a few selective companies like that, but they're really, really rare. And what is in tech, like appreciated the most is the experience and ability to solve problems. And practically never anybody will look at, hey, did you actually have a master or PhD? They help, don't get me wrong. Definitely all like the more knowledge, the more experience you have, the better. But if that's your concern, that like just like you will get a better job, I think you'll get a better job with better experience. That's my opinion. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Um, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. My apologies if I'm butchering any of the names. Love from India. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Audience, I'm feeling slightly burnt out from taking so many OA. Well, I'm sorry. What is OA? Not sure what it is. Okay, so I will take a couple more questions, and hopefully I can provide with some insights and perspective. But again, guys, I truly recommend you um, to listen to what works for you, because we are all in different phases in our worlds, in different places, and there are no two situations alike. And um, if yeah, what I'm trying to say is that whoever gives you an advice, um, I don't think anybody will give you better advice than what you can do and what decision you can make, because no one knows better the situation where you are, um, and what can you do, and what are your restrictions, what are your hopes, and where do you want to go next. So that you are the person who will be able to do that. But definitely, it's good to have or know the perspective and the knowledge or the experience that other people had. Oh wait, online assessment coding challenges. Don't do them. Like if it's burning you out, don't do them. Stop. And if you still want to continue to improve your crafting software craftsmanship, then look at the projects that you have. Maybe you can refactor them. Maybe you can apply a new design pattern. Maybe you can do it like improve it somehow. Um, Create something that you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be necessary algorithms and data structures. Make a project. Or it's perfectly normal sometimes to take time off, do something else, just recharge your batteries and come back fresh with new ideas. How is your currently work life going, and what's coming on the YouTube channel soon? Good question. How is my life? Right now, For the foreseeable future, working from a different state, just run away from Washington where it's raining and cold, just like soaking in the nice weather and the warmth. I really like that. I like the ability of going for walks and in the morning before work, going for runs and so on. But it's challenging to kind of balance out work, working remote, having a child, because it's a disruption in the routine that the child had, and it's a challenge to balance it out. So trying to make it work. The next part of the question and what's coming on the YouTube channel soon. Honestly, I have so many ideas, so cool ideas, and it's just like the thing is that it comes down to time and perfectionism. Like I have an idea, I want to do something, and it gets to a point like, hey, I want to do this, but I have only this amount of time, and what can I like? What can I do with that? And I think the perfectionism in this case gets in the way. So what I'll try to do is that I'll try to release as good enough content as I can, given the time that I have, and hopefully that will be useful for a lot of people. But what to come next on YouTube, on the YouTube channel? Like I am, I want to do a follow up on the like working remote, and it's in a different scenario. In this case, it's a minimalist scenario because if you watched my other videos, like my home setup, I have a 49-inch monitor, I have a desk, I have a whiteboard. It's pretty friendly to get in the zone and work and being able to do a decent amount of job. And here where I am, I'm like minimal, not having a place, a desk to work, and just as feeling like a digital nomad, honestly. So I want to show how I make it work, like with the minimal things that I have. I also wanted to create a YouTube video about coding on iPad because I was interested in that and I was researching this topic for a year and a half or something like that. And finally, I find a few ways that I'm using the tablet or my iPad for coding. So I want to share that. And at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm providing the information that is useful for you. So that's where I'm asking, like, what would you like to see? And if I feel that I can provide some value there, I'll definitely try to film that video and release it. So I'm always open for your suggestions and hoping that I can I can deliver those. Keeping hard skills up is obviously important. Curious about what you do to stay balanced and be a productive engineer manager. Personally, I have tried more exercising and meditating. Um, so what I am doing is basically not always working out, but I'm trying. Like I'm trying to have an active lifestyle because that helps with having um, uh, okay, like how I want my the words are failing me, but basically the brain works better if you're having walks or running. Like we were wired like that as humans. We are wired to have movement, to do stuff, right? So if I have a chance to go for a walk or run, definitely that helps me being able to focus and learn things faster. And how do I make sure that I stay productive as an engineer or manager? I'm trying to stick to a schedule and not over promise what I can do. The difference here is that when you are an engineer, I talked about this, is that you have a creative schedule. Like your schedule is pretty much open and you can work, get in the zone, and so on. When you're a manager, you are most likely on the manager schedule. Like you have a lot of interviews. I'm sorry, maybe interviews, true too, but meetings and so on, right? So you're trying to make this work. And so, shortly, what I'm doing, I have themed days. Like I have days where I meet with everybody in my team. I have a day where I'm working on projects. I have a day like Wednesday is my day when I actually dedicate on engineering stuff, like proof of concept, trying to look into a new challenge. a new language or something like that. Maybe like I've done Docker last year, somewhere in August. And since then, I didn't do anything Docker related or anything like that. So what I did yesterday, I kind of reserved an hour and a half in my calendar to kind of refresh my memory about Docker. So trying to make it efficient and actually added here and there things that are leadership, like development in that area, and development and continuous growth in the engineering and tech related things. And how do I do the manager stuff? I'm listening to books like Audible and so on. Like right now, I'm listening to The Hard Thing About Hard Things, and I'm re-listening actually a couple of times. There are a few chapters that are so good that I'm actually listening a couple of times of that. So hopefully that answers that. I wanted to do meditating. I tried it once or two. It didn't work for me. Definitely, I realized that every day, practically every hour, my brain is doing something. So what I'm trying is to have at least half an hour that I allow my brain to do nothing, like no listening to music or podcast or reading or anything like that, just wander around. So maybe that is considered meditating, but it's not truly, in my opinion. So I'm trying to give it a break sometimes. Um, we kind of answered it. Okay. Um, Also, how is the weather at Washington? Honestly, I don't know. Actually, I just checked. Personally, I don't know what it is, but I checked the weather and I believe it's 7 degrees Celsius. So it's kind of cold. And a friend just sent me a video and she was with the beanie and with a coat. And as you can see, I am um, with a t-shirt. And actually, it's hot right now here. It's 30 degrees something here in California. Would you, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. My apologies if I don't. What do you think about being generalist and a specialist as a programmer? Um, Again, there's not one thing that works for everybody. Somebody is better at generalist, somebody is better at specializing. I consider myself more a generalist. I like to know a lot of things about different things, and I will never know if I like something until I try it. So I find I think I know a little bit about a decent amount of things to call myself dangerous in that particular area. But there are moments that I wish I was a specialist in a particular thing. So um, it's your call. What you like, what makes you happier. Knack, 1, 2, 3. You are definitely adding value. Love your holistic tech content. Keep doing what we're doing. Thank you. Mohammed, thanks for answering the question. It's very late here. Got to go to sleep. Bye. Dave, hi Anna. Thanks for all your top-notch vid. Thank you. I appreciate it. Griffin, what's the best source for learning Docker, Kubernetes, and other dev ops related stuff? Um, Again, there are multiple resources, whatever works for you, but I'll mention a few and you can probably check them out. What I have used, I definitely used a book. I have a book that I read on Docker. That's from the Docker conference, and like here's the the t-shirt from that time. But also I've used courses such as LinkedIn Learning. There's another one that I recently discovered that I really like, and that one is called Aurelie Learning Platform. They have a lot of good books there. Like you get the books and you get different talks, so that one is good there. And also YouTube is free and available. So like what I did yesterday, I actually watched a Docker tutorial, like it was an hour and a half or 2 hours long on that. And Free Code Camp also is talking about Docker, Kubernetes, and other things. So Free Code Camp is a good resource. I recommend it. Snack 123, good point on keeping a calendar spot free for self-development. We'll take that on board and try to do the same. Non-traditional tech. Well, I recognize your name. Good to see you. For meditation, maybe try the Sam Harris meditation app. It takes you through mindful meditation. I will need to check it out. I don't think I ever heard of it. Saquando, Again, my apologies if I mispronounce it. You have really nice hair. Thank you. It's wild. Um, Dagmy. Hi, Anna. How are you? Well, it's good to see you, Dagny. I'm good. It's Friday here. Having a chat with you. It's been a while. Hopefully, I can answer some of the questions that you have, and at the same time, hear how you're doing. How have you been? Griffin. I'm a software engineer and looking to jump to senior software engineer role. Besides making features, solving bugs, what else can I do to accelerate to this jump? Basically, um, depending on the company you work in the company you work in, most likely there should be a leveling guide, right? So I would recommend you to look up the leveling guide. The company that you work for is there, and see where you are right now. Kind of see, okay, here's what I think I can do, and here's the thing that is needed for me to get to the next step, and kind of identify your gaps and make a plan how to get there. Also, I recommend you to work with your manager and ask his recommendation, his feedback, honest feedback, but also from your teammates. My apologies. From your teammates to have an assessment and ask them what they noticed, your strengths and your weaknesses and areas where you can kind of grow up, because having like kind of this feedback loop, your self-assessment, your manager's assessment, and your peer assessment is like the 360 degrees reflection. It will help you identify the gaps and being able to provide a plan to move there. My apologies. I need water. Um, but basically, other than just like this generic answer, what I can provide also is that I definitely would will recommend you to dive deeper in understanding the business domain, what brings value, what is the impact that the work you're doing, because it's not only about translating the requirements into code. It's about understanding what's important, what's not important, what makes a difference, and trying to deliver that value, understanding what your business users or your stakeholders are, what makes them happy, and what makes their life easier. Try to solve their pain points. Have that in mind. Will definitely help to get there sooner. It's a lot of times it's not about the technical aspect of like what can you do. It's about the value you bring to the people who need it. Okay. Dagmar, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Glad to hear that you're doing well. Are you, are you ready for the Halloween, or are you actually doing any Halloween stuff? Dagmar, what's the future? Let me see. One. What's the future of React Native? I'm almost finished studying React Native, and I made 3 apps so far. And is it possible? Is it possible to be probably a programmer at 39? Definitely, you can be a programmer at any age. It's not about the age. It's about uh, your perspective, your um, thoughts, and so on. And different ages, different backgrounds are important in tech. So definitely, definitely, don't get discouraged by the age. And um, everybody have their place in tech. Griffin, thanks. Well, hopefully that was valuable. Okay. Any other questions that I can quickly answer? And my apologies for a super shaky video today, but I'm on a tablet. As you know, that I am with a minimal setup these days, and I'm trying not to shake it that much, but sometimes it's hard to make it. See, Kwando, are you dressing up for Halloween? How are you spend how are you spending your Halloweens? Um, honestly, right now where we the moment in life, um, don't have enough energy to do Halloween at all, honestly. At work, there's a contest like for the best Halloween costume and so on. Like, I won't be doing Halloween or anything like that. But um, too many things going on, too many projects, work, life, family, and so on that I don't have time for Halloween. But I'm happy to see other people dressing up and getting ready for it. It's exciting to see other people happy and having fun. Dagny, so it's in what programming section you are currently working? Right now, actually, I am getting into Salesforce. So they are using Apex programming language, so I'm looking into that. It's pretty much Java, but I'm trying to understand their structure, their API, trying to understand their pipeline. So I never ever before built a CI/CD. I kind of knew what it is, how like basically configuration, but I never done anything from scratch myself. So yesterday or the day before, I started into looking at build guides and how to build the CI/CD pipeline. So I'm trying to figure out that one, how to make it work for this. Uh, mm, Sequando, programming is not about how old you are; it's about how hard you work. Um, I would agree with that, and I would add to that how smart you work, because you can work really hard, but sometimes it's about how smart you're working. Griffin, what are your hobbies besides tech? My hobby besides tech is reading and running when I have time. Crafting, however, I don't have much time these days to do crafting. And recently writing a book. That's a new hobby of mine. Non-traditional tech dog me. I went back to school at 33, started working in industry at 38. Go for it. Awesome. I love this. I love it. Yeah, definitely. Go for it. Don't stop. Like the age is just a number. I love that. Untraditional, awesome, awesome. I'm super happy that you're able to do that, and that you're encouraging other people. That's really important and really good. Dreaming Full 2. I love the name. I want to become a software engineer, but I worry I won't be able to find an an employer who will let me work from home around my special needs kids hours and so on. Honestly, like the worry is valid because we as human beings we worry about everything. I worry about the same things, but the world that we live in right now, practically everybody works remote. Um, Yesterday I had an interview with one candidate. He did really well, and he said, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to be a dad in January, and I would like to take time off. Should I start working now, or should I start up working afterwards?" Like, I don't know. If you want to start now, work now, and if you want to start working after you have your child, you spend time with them. It's all about you. So, um, I'm sure there are employers and companies who will support you and they will make sure that you have a good work-life balance and you can work and be there for your child. Um, it's not about work or family these days. However, it's not easy. Like personally, for me to be home, working from home, my husband is working from home and our child is home with us as well, like all day. It's definitely an added challenge, but um, I, I won't have it any other way, honestly. Like if it would have been safe to have daycare and so on, we'll do that. But don't get discouraged by that. Like definitely there will be companies that will allow you to have a work-life balance. Like other example in my team, I have team members who have kids that are already in college, and they are doing their day in such a way that allows them to spend time with their family, go to different games, different events for their kids. So they will work in the morning, take a few hours during the day off, and then work in the evening, or they make it work around their schedule, and they're still doing a really great job. So definitely can do that. If they can, anybody can. Okay, Dagmy, thank you for your time. See you soon. Thank you for your time. Bye. Yeah, I'll be wrapping up in a few minutes also. So, any final moment, any final questions? Um, I drop it here, and at the same time, I'm curious, like, if you guys going to do Halloween, who you'll be dressing up as, and are you excited about it? Griffin, Tim Cook, and a lot of senior management work 12 hours a day. I am little worried. If I, okay, what is there? If I choose the management track later on, I won't have good work-life balance. Any thoughts? Um, I can reflect on that because I were relate to that because at the beginning I was working 14, 16 hours days when I was starting. And that was nobody was asking me to do that, but I just really wanted to understand and wanted to be able to bring value as soon as possible. So I worked that many hours, but um, nobody's forcing you, right? So um, and every company is different. Like I believe if you work with Elon Musk, he's he's recommended to sleep less and work more, stuff like that. And if that's your vibe, go for it. But if you want to have a normal or not that the other one is not normal, it's normal for them. But if you want to have a normal work lifestyle that is normal for you, there are companies and opportunities that support different lifestyles. If you weren't working in tech, what do you think you would be doing? Hmm, good question. If I were not working in tech, what will I be doing? Well, before I went into tech, I got a degree in psychology and in teaching. So I was a teacher for a little bit. So maybe, um, maybe I would have continued on that route. But at the same time, I think I would have tried the creator route. Like if creating content, creating courses for people because I like to teach and share. And if time and availability would have not be a question, definitely that would be something what I would be focusing on. Any experience? Okay, what is there? Any experience as a Java backend engineer? I believe I'm about to get an offer for the role. I'm currently in aerospace doing embedded C and C++. So what is the question? Uh, if I accept, I will be working in financial tech. Are you interested in working in that domain and in that industry? Mario, what's your take on Visual Basic.net and its future? Great, what is it? Great, you're doing this. Thanks. Well, I'm glad, Mario, that you find it useful. So, what is honestly, I don't have an opinion on Visual Basic.net. I haven't tried it, and I don't know actually what is currently uniqueness. Like, is this like, does it offer something that can be done in that language that other languages that don't offer? I really don't know. So I'm just like guessing and being wrong. I would rather say that I don't know. So sorry, can answer that one. Sequando, do you or have you ever worked with HTML and CSS? Yes, I did a little bit HTML and CSS back in when I was at university. That was like, I don't know how many years, 15 years ago, probably. I don't remember. 10, somewhere from 10 to 15. I lost track of time. And recently, last year, when I did the App Academy bootcamp, I did CSS and HTML as well. But honestly, HTML I'm okay with. CSS, it was definitely I'm okay with doing here and there a little bit, but my preference is backend. Any advice, good Java resources? I want to get out of aerospace and I use more modern tech. Uh, plus I would like to get a raise. So for Java, depending on like what works for you, but I know there's a good book for Java. It's Head First Java. A lot of people are learning Java with that book. But also there is a book that I used when I was teaching in high school, Java for high school kids, and that book is really good. Obviously, that one is old, but there are newer editions, and it's used in colleges. So I will try to find that book. I think Build with Java, I think it's called. But that one is really good, and it's being used, I think, at MIT and other colleges. So that one is really good. Um, and by if I forget to send you the book name, please IM me, and I'll definitely send you the book name. Um, what's your favorite movie and TV show? The other day I was like, oh, I want to watch a movie or I want to watch a TV show. Um, so favorite movie would be, huh? I'm 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 having a blank right now. Let me think about it. On TV show, there are different, ar- like there are favorite from since I was a teenager, favorite since like 5 years ago or stuff like that. What is the most recent? I don't remember last time when I watched TV or a show. But a good movie that I recently watched on Amazon Prime, that was Voyagers. I really like that one. TV show, I started to pick up Bones just because I could not find anything else, but um, I really, really liked Before CSS, New York, and Las Vegas, but that was years ago. Since then, I don't think I watched anything. I also was considering to do HBO Max subscription just the other day to watch the Game of Thrones just to see what other people were so interested in. But yeah, I'm late to the game. What are your favorite movies and TV shows? Okay, Griffin, non-tech, Java documentation is very nice and thorough. Have good through it. Non-traditional tech, good night, thanks. I'm sorry. For whatever reason, I read good night, but you say thanks. My eyes are misreading things. How do you recommend a new graduate to find a job, Alfred? Um, a lot of jobs that you find these days is more through connections and recommendations. So I definitely will encourage you to make connections and networking um, through different events, open source if it's something that you opt to it. And definitely reaching out to people in LinkedIn and making connections. So a lot of people are getting jobs through that. Um, reaching out to recruiters and not just, hey, maybe if there's not a job right now, just make the connection, build that professional capital, and when you need it, you'll be able to tap into that. But it might take a little bit of time to build that professional capital, but that will be my recommendation. And the other one is definitely it's worth just to apply for different jobs and get practice interviewing, presenting yourself in an interview and do well. Um, Woody, when do you have two options of companies? The first one is good at engineering cultures and the other is good at the product. Which one would you like to choose? I would choose the one that I'll be bringing the most value and the most impact. Griffin, has anyone watched Squid Games yet? Thinking of starting that. I haven't watched it. Uh, yes, watch Squid Games. Was it any good? And I'm Griffin Tech. Seen first episode. Seen first episode. So far, so good. Where did you watch this? Is this a Netflix show? Okay. Um, I love the, the conversation. I like that we talk about movies as well and stuff like that. Um, yeah, it's on Netflix. Okay, I'll have to probably do the subscription again. Um, yeah, I I love the fact that we were able to connect and chat, and thank you all for joining. I definitely had a good time. Now it's time for me to go back and work on getting better at understanding how Salesforce is built and how to program in Apex and how to structure everything. But yeah, thank you all. Squid Games. Okay, you all sound like you enjoy this one. I should add it to my to be viewed. Awesome. Well, hopefully everybody will have an amazing weekend. If you're celebrating or having planning to have fun during Halloween, definitely have fun during Halloween and enjoy coding. See you next time. Bye bye.